Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Agatha, and today we're going to make an easy and a delicious, elegant summer dessert. These are your ingredients. Whether you use the high test or the low cal, you're going to need 4 packages of ladyfingers, about 3.5. Any left over, stick them in a plastic bag and put them in the freezer. They're good for the next batch. You're going to need 1 pint of whipping cream. Remember to beat it in a chilled bowl with chilled beaters. You can use any brand of pie filling. I used lemon, and we'll see that a little later. You can use cherry, blueberry, key lime, peach, raspberry, apple, anything that you know somebody really likes. However, these are kind of sugary, and we really don't need that if you're trying to lose weight. 2 packages, 8 ounces each, of cream cheese. You can make all of this lighter in calories by using 1/3 less fat cream cheese, fresh fruit instead of the canned fruit, and light Cool Whip instead of the whipped cream. It's best made in a springform pan, either round or square. The square is much more easy to work geometrically when you're laying out the ladyfingers. You don't own a springform pan? A Corning wheel will do just fine. This is about 8 inches by 8 inches. If you got one that's a little bit higher, that would work a little bit better. A round springform pan will work as well. So here are our utensils. Here are our ingredients. The reason I chose to make this is it's quick, it's easy, and it's no bake. In the hot summer, when you're looking for an elegant dessert, it works just great. So we've already seen our ingredients, and I've got my 2 packages of cream cheese here, and I'm going to let that cream up quite a bit. And I've opened 3 of my 4 packages of ladyfingers, and I've lined the sides and the floor with the ladyfingers. As soon as we get our very first cream cheese batter on the bottom, we'll be able to add another one. Since today's version is the less sugary, more diabetic-friendly version, I'm using the 1/3 less fat cream cheese and the light Cool Whip. And you know what? Everything is sweet enough, so I'm not going to add the standard 1/4 cup of sugar. You could use Splendor, but in that case you need only 1/8. Remember, half the amount with the Splendor. And this is going to cream up really well. And I've cut my strawberries, because today we're going to use a berry mixture. They're prevalent in the summer. You can go pick them yourself, and that's a lot of fun. Bring them home and eat them, or put them in pies, or make some jam, or whatever, on top of ice cream, or you can make a dessert just like this one. I have washed the berries and let them drain out, and you can actually use even melons beside berries, or cut up fruit into thin slices, anything that will make your guests happy, particularly know that they like something. You can easily use any of those. The only thing I would suggest is not putting a smaller berry on the top, because they do have a tendency to roll off should you tilt it the least little bit. I learned that the very hard way. So this is creaming up well. As I said, we're going to have strawberries, blackberries, and blueberries today. And this doesn't take very long. We created a nice floor and a nice set of walls for our ladyfingers. And I like to get everything off those beaters, because you can use every little bit. And I like to get my hands dirty and get everything all cleared off. Good to the last drop. I can remember when my mom taught cooking at the girls' club. The girls didn't like to cook with her because she wouldn't let them lick the beaters. But oh boy, were they happy at the end when everything was cooked and they got 3 more cookies than all the other groups because they hadn't licked the beaters. So I always learn to get as much as you can off the beater, every little bit. We're going to divide this up in thirds, and there's no scientific method, folks. You can just do it by looking. But I have discovered if you have to cheat on one of the layers, cheat on the bottom, because it won't show. Okay. And we are going to get that all blended up real nice. If you're a decorating kind of person and you have luck with a pastry bag and decorating little rosettes on the top, you can save a tiny bit of this mixture and use that on the top. Now we're going to spread this around. I find it easier to spread with a spoon because the handle isn't quite as long and it's not quite as large. And you've made a nice floor so that when you cut it, it's easy to lift. Just spread that around all over. It's really good. This is a quick, easy dessert. Somebody calls and says, "Hi, we're in the North Shore area. Can we drop in for tea?" It can be made really, really easily and really quickly. So, I made my floor of ladyfingers. Now I've spread my first cream batter. And I'm going to spread the blueberries around. It'll take maybe a pint of blueberries, a pint of raspberries, and, well, I guess we don't have blueberries in our cereal tomorrow morning, and we used them all. Okay. The one thing you need to do when you're working with berries to make this dessert, just press them down a little bit so they sit into the cream cheese mixture because they will pile up and it gets pretty high. And we have another layer of ladyfingers. And I kind of like to put some going north and south and some going east and west just to make it a little firmer. Okay. And as I said earlier when I was showing you the ingredients, if you can save what's left over of the ladyfingers, they're perfectly good to use for the next batch. So there we have our second layer all set and ready to go. Now it's easy to divide in half. Getting the first part out is a little tricky. And we'll spread this around. This is a nice dessert served with coffee or tea, but it's particularly nice when served with that new cold brew tea, where you just place the tea bags into cold light water and then add a little bit of ice, and they come flavored. Some stores carry them now, some don't. Down in the South, they're easily available because, as we all know in the South, iced tea is the table wine of the South. Okay, there's our second layer. Our blackberries, these are my favorite. I made it once and I tried crushing them. That just made too much juice and it came out just a little bit too watery. Bet you this would also work with some nice fall fruits such as apples and pears, thinly sliced. And I'm going to have to stop 1 second here and get out of my freezer the ones that I didn't use yesterday. When I made the one yesterday, the high cal one, I had some of these left over. So I just stuck them in a baggie, and what was left over yesterday will work just fine to finish off today's. Might have to piece it a little bit here and there, but it's not going to show anyway because everything will go on top of it. Look at that, right down to the very, very last two. Boy, timed that really well, didn't I? Sometimes ladyfingers are hard to find. You find them a lot more in the summer. When I find them, I stock up. They fit flat in the freezer. And that's perfect. We'll take our last batch of cream cheese and Cool Whip. Spread that around. If you make the dessert without the fruit, so there's no fruit on top, you can take this batter and really smooth it out, very, very smooth, and then take a fork and score it, make little zigzags, just make it a little bit fancy, or a little lemon zest would go well on top if you're using the lemon pie filling, or the lime, or even a little orange zest, anything to help decorate it. But since we're going to do the strawberries today, that's pretty well spread. Since we're going to do the strawberries today, we're just going to place those right on top. As I said, working with a square springform pan is a lot easier than a round one. The only thing with the round one is it's kind of hard to cram the, I like to kind of dovetail these. It's hard to get the ladyfingers, which are rectangular, into a round pan, but you work at it and it'll come out just fine. Almost done. Didn't take long at all. I've even made this dessert when somebody's called and given me a 45-minute notice. I take out my frozen Cool Whip and my cold hard cream cheese, and I lay them in the middle of my gas stove, and the pilot will get them just barely warm enough. It may take a little extra beating time, but it really works well. And it's a nice, fresh, cool dessert. I didn't have to turn on my oven. It's quite elegant looking when you take the sides off. And I'll show you what the other one looks like. And we got a few spaces and a few berries that we can just fill in here and there. And in just a few minutes, it's going to be all ready to eat. Don't you wish you were here? I love having company, and I love cooking now that I'm retired, and I can do it at my leisure. And I can make the mess I want when I want, and voila, we're done. I'm going to unearth the one I made yesterday with the lemon pie filling. This one was made in a round springform pan. And I do like to cover it with tin foil because whipped cream has a tendency to pick up the odors that are in your refrigerator. And as I said, I like to cook. I'm not a very good cook, and the two things that I really don't know how to do are roll cookie dough and pie dough, and how to get these all the same size and shape. But this is a springform pan, and very easily you release the sides and take it off, and voila. You have all the sides with all of the lady fingers. So we have a high test with the lemon pie filling, which is really nice in the summer. or we have the fresh berries and fruit one, which is much more kind to our diabetic systems. And remember, buona salute è vera ricchezza. Good health is true wealth. Have a good day, and I hope you enjoyed cooking with me.